Hell, it's Base Trade TV.
All right, another best of 3 underway. It's worth noting, guys, again, this is a rematch of the grand finals of the first ever Starbow Ladder Cup. Now, when I say rematch, I don't mean like these guys had a grudge match and they're rematching. It just happens to be the way the bracket's boiled down, but still pretty cool nonetheless. I'm going to announce right now, and I'll try and time out with it. We're going to have the bets for this game go up right now, if I've done this correctly. But yeah, so anyways, spawning in the lower left corner of the map in the Starbow Ladder Cup number 3 this time, it's going to be tehredbandit.
Going for a very early pool. On the top right, as the green Protoss, it is Franscar.
Now, this was a situation where we saw, if you guys actually didn't see these, by the way, they're up on YouTube. These guys had probably the best and the funnest series. Oh, you know what? I have seen this map once before, because this is the doodads that look like dongs in the middle of the map. Anyways, these guys had a really great series the first time they ever squared off. I had a lot of fun casting them, and there were some really, really intense moments. I don't know if it's going to necessarily go out the same way because a lot's changed since then. There's been, I think, 2 or 3 major patch changes since the first Starbow Ladder Cup. But yeah, they're talented players to say the least. And now you can't unsee it, right? I mean, it's disgusting.
I just keep thinking of the GIF that I posted you.
Yeah. That's right. That's a penis, is what that is. Anyways. Red Bandit, though, also someone who favors his Hydra bust. He's done them before in the past, but is opening with 6 lings again. Now, this is something he did versus a Terran player, but looks to be something he's just comfortable doing as an opening in general.
This is a lot sooner, though. I think the other ones were 10 pools. This is a 7 pool. And I'm just wondering if it's probably because of the map, right? Like, this map is such an awkward wall for a Protoss player. I mean, look what he's trying to do right now. He's kind of trying to do, like, that diagonal thing. Yeah, because you can come in from the right side over here, or you can come in from this very small choke at the front. Either way, it's not going to be easy to defend. Right now, he's actually... Well, he's going to have to rely on 2 cannons pretty desperately. He should be able to hold this, though. He should be, if done correctly. I like the pro pool, because that's going to try and wall off so they don't run through.
Yeah.
You can't take on the cannons, though. Yeah.
Alright, well, the next is going to go down. The problem is, though, I don't think this can... It'll cover versus lings, but not against if Hydralisks are the quick follow-up, but
yeah.
Not going to be the case. Still no gas taken, and just taking his expansion for the time being. This is a very interesting map.
Yeah, so I think that early pool wasn't really worth it. I like the idea, though. I'm sure that there are a lot of other players that really mess up the wall off.
It's happened. I mean, even with just this one little choke, it's still hard to wall that off fully and entirely.
Yeah, I mean, if that cannon's like over 1 more or something, suddenly you can hit the Nexus, you know, you're kind of screwed. So luckily Franscar is studied well, I suppose, or...
Yeah, I like the wall off a lot better like this. I mean, you could try and do it any other way you want, like even if it's at the top of the ramp or something weird and stupid, but the reality is this is probably the nicest opener for it because you have to play tight-knit. You can't really overextend yourself because of the threat of lings, because of the set of Zerglings. If you go in for like some sort of like 3 gateway 1 base opener, then it's different because you've got units to mobilize with, but Franscar still has no actual army units to fight with at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it is a bad not wall, but a bad like opener because you have to throw it on 2 cannons as opposed to just 1, but you have to. And I feel like, you know, the gateway openers just aren't really very popular in Starbow at all.
Not yet, at least. But I mean,
we did see Jade do 1 because of the other map that really forces you into it, but that was it.
But it's the same thing too. Like, it just takes a small change to the game to really dynamically change the way you open it. Like regular StarCraft 2 gateway openers were unheard of. It's Forge Fast Expand every time for all of Wings of Liberty, pretty much, right?
Oh God, yes, yeah.
But then you kind of fast forward to nowadays, and you see gateway expands non-stop.
Well, actually, what it was, there was a gateway expand into 4-gate. I forget the expand. It was a gateway into 4-gate.
A gateway into a 4-gate. This must be Daedalus Point we're talking about.
Well, that's what it was, man. Are they 3-gating or 4-gating was the ultimate question.
Right, and it was. We're kind of joking about it, but once upon a time, that was a huge deal.
Oh yeah, no, this is like, it's not a joke. That's what it was. I'm looking at you seriously. You can't see me on webcam, but I am.
Yeah, I guess I could glance over to the other screen if I wanted to. If I really want to put the effort into that. But the thing about these chokes too, guys, Yeah, this is an interesting dynamic to the map. This is something you're never going to see in a regular StarCraft map because of sentries and force fields. But Starbow has neither, and instead a Zealot takes a really nice position. Now Queen could enrage and push him away, but it's not really worth the energy this early. You want as many larva injects as you can, because larva works differently in Starbow, as far as the injects are concerned at least. For those who aren't aware, and I will point this out real quick just while we got a bit of downtime, Queen's actually, ooh, nice little surrender with the lings holding in place. Queen's after enraged to an attack. They look really cool while they're enraged, and they also do a ton of damage. But larva injects are the biggest difference, I think, for Starbow when you come to Zerg players for the first time, because it doesn't produce 3 extra eggs that pop out 3 extra larvae immediately, but instead just simply hastens the rate at which they spawn. And you also can't have more than 3 per hatchery, I think is the limit still. So that's why you'll see like macro hatcheries come down. That's why you see a lot of expansions being emphasized for Zerg players. It's really cool.
Yeah. I really enjoy the APM sinks in Starbow as opposed to StarCraft 2. Like, I don't really mind them in StarCraft 2, but I think that Starbow does it better.
More efficiently, I think is better.
More better. Yeah, it just, it doesn't cause the problems that, like, endgame larva injects in StarCraft 2 does, where, like, mass tech switches are a norm and really hard to deal with. You can't really do that with Starbow's injects, but anyways, 3 spine collars to carry that poor Blink Stalker.
But I like this out of Red Bandit immediately. This was something we criticized the Deathblood, perhaps a little too much of in the last series, but still, even though he doesn't know that it's a ton of Blink Stalkers coming, he's actually prepared just generally for whatever low gateway units will be over here. I mean, there's a timing in the game where spine collars will just keep you safe versus generically anything. But what's happening is Franscar, seeing those 3 spine collars, decides, alright, I'll take the path less traveled, and goes in from the south, and there's actually not a lot to defend, just a couple of lings. And Blink Stalkers are really effective at dealing with lings.
He is moving, the spine collars, so he's well aware of this opportunity. He was going to go for a Spire. I don't know how Blink Stalkers are actually pretty good against Spires.
Oh, that was actually really cool, that dive over the wall.
Whoa.
I always forget, it's the high ground vision. You can see beyond to go for the Blink. And this is such a hard position to break because they're rooted behind the mineral line. Zerglings can't get us around.
Yeah.
Spinecaller rerouting is the only thing that could really deal with this. But I think even if he blinks correctly... Oh, there's the recall. The useless recall I was talking about. So it saves units, but look at this, guys. Look at this. You can't recall home to defend. It takes so long to activate these units. But I'm really glad we could show that off.
I kind of like that it isn't just a freebie.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't be on Nexus tech, if anything, if it was a freebie, right? It would have to be a bit later on.
Mothership Core, excuse you.
Well,
it's a freebie recall.
Mothership Core is a little bit different than just a Nexus, though, because you can do it from any Nexus and multiple times. The Mothership Core is like 1 unit.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. You're right. Anyways, we do have mutas on the way. Of course, Franscar did scout it, so that's why he puts down a few extra cannons. And he already is on his way up to High Templar tech, so we can morph him into Archons or just save him for Storm.
Yeah, I think Storm's going to be a great choice. Even against Mutas that are going to dive out of them, still, it does a little bit more damage, so they'll take a little bit more. But what's more important beyond this is he's already got a ton of Blink Stalkers, and he revealed this already. So the Mutalist swap's not that scary. You see him dive into some cannons, and that Chrono Boost, man, it's so good.
He shouldn't go mass mutas, I feel. It's not really something you did in Brood War, and something actually I don't think we've seen in Starbow.
It's really StarCraft 2 is the only place that ever really started happening.
It's of course, mutas don't regenerate as fast as they did in StarCraft 2, as they do in StarCraft 2.
They do regenerate faster, but yeah, they're not nearly as fast as StarCraft 2. So
Storms actually do damage to them, and then the Blink Stalkers, obviously you get them automatically, which is really, really nice. It just also seems to be like, there's so many better options, I guess, because, late game tech is really good with defilers or what have you, that staying on mutas doesn't seem to be very popular in Starbow.
I like the Goon follow-up to this too, but Snips up a couple more Mutalists as they try and back away. But Dragoons are just, again, they've got so much health on them, 180 versus the, barely 120 Stalker has. They hit for much harder, and they've got a huge range bonus with Singularity Charge, which he's actually not researched. Uh-oh, that's a mistake.
They also can tank a lot more, so when these lurkers come through...
Yeah. No, that Singularity Charge is too range, guys. Like, this is a big mistake not to go for it, but still invest in the Goons, I think. Yeah,
because it looks like he is completely switching over to Goons, so you really should remember about that. Dark Templar is going to be created here. Of course, you can get both off of a single tech structure, which is really nice, but you don't get the opportunity to warp them in.
It's kind of cool too, because Dark Templar, a lot of things have been kind of tweaked with and changed and fiddled with in Starbow from StarCraft, but Dark Templar, the one unit that's really not been tweaked with at all, other than like where it comes from.
Well, it's so much harder to get them because you do have to really, it's not just like, oh, I have a pylon over here, let me warp in a bunch. that is a full cycle of work gate and time of distance traveled.
Yeah, this is kind of cool to Red Bandit too. I like that he took this base, not because it's like a hidden base or whatever, but it's Franscar's base. So as the game gets further in, you know, these minerals, they've been taken already. There's no regrowing a mineral patch.
StarCraft would be a very different game if they regrew.
Dude, I'm just thinking Tiberium right now. Command and
Yeah,
Conquer
right.
status.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I was wondering if that was his base or not. I was like, should he take the top left?
No, I think it was very much intentionally done this way. But Lurkers and Lings, I don't know if they can really contend with this. There's just not enough. There's no support for them either. One Dark Templar slips past too.
Doesn't have an observer.
That's actually a key point too. You have no detection. You can't scan or anything. So this is actually a little bit more scary. Does have to back away from this. Yeah. Decent storm. Doesn't quite kill a lot, but does some good damage. No, that storm's a little bit better, starting to pick off some kills here, but the Lurkers are now spread out. And this is, like, I know a lot of people come to this match and they're like, who's Red Bandit, who's Franscar? I've never heard of either of these players, but these are probably some of the better, if not the best, Starbow Ladder players that currently are available, at least outside of, say, Korea or something, because we're not counting Innovation or Young right now. But, I mean, Franscar, really talented. Red Bandit, really talented. And, I mean, just in that one little engagement kind of shows just how these guys can handle.
Okay, I gotta ask. Vengeful Sax is the same thing, right? It's carrying.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. I think all the Zergs that we've seen have gotten it every single game.
If he lurker drops or something, that'd be so cool. But this cannon's all these mineral lines.
That's what I'm waiting for. Something cool like that, you know? But he's gotten it and he has never actually used it. So, I don't know.
Well, I mean, right now for Franscar too, just, okay, now we got Singularity Charge only. That was definitely a mistake not having that this early, but he's finally getting detection en route too, which is, again, a problem that we didn't realize till the Lurkers were already there. Red Bandit could potentially, what I would love to see him do with these Mutalisks at this point, because there's no way they take a fight head on. They're too weak, they're too fragile. But if they snipe off the Observer, that would be actually critical at keeping Franscar at bay.
Sniping off Observer and sniping off High Templars are actually something you can do with Mutalisks that was very popular. And definitely, you know, it's harder in Starbow because they do still clump up, you know, as opposed to Brood War where like things just tried not to clump up their best darnest. But, you know, if you sack some Mutas and you get 2 High Templars, it's probably worth it.
You know what? Something actually rather large has been going on behind this too that I didn't realize until just now. First, I've got a bit of a Dark Templar harass, whatever, but upgrades right now. He's coming up on this 3rd weapon upgrade right now, and Red Bandit's naked.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, you should get some upgrades. You know, it shouldn't be completely upgradeless.
I like the storm drops here.
Oh, storm drop also on some of the Mutas.
It doesn't kill too many workers with it. Red Bandit did a good job of pulling, but Force here in the middle of the map, another engagement going down. This time he's a little bit unprepared. He's dealing with the top left. He's dealing with his natural base, and because of this, he loses all ground in the middle. He loses his lurkers. The Hydras are going to fall too. Takes out a lot of goons with him, though. Oh my god, he takes out way more than I think he should have been expected, but tries to snipe off some of the Templar. Storm does go down. It looks like forces will neutralize for the time being, but looking a little bit worse for Red Bandit because he doesn't have a lot behind this. These Dragoons are incredibly weak, but what's going to kill them?
I don't know. It needs to actually group up too. That's the real problem. Is everything's gonna be coming out of different larvae, and you know, in pieces, it's not really gonna work out. This is a piece that is not gonna do anything. I don't know why he attacked right there.
Hydralisks do need to fall back to this base here. I mean, he's still got the lower right undiscovered at this point, too, and he's got a lot of drones mining there, so any damage he takes at the natural even is somewhat, I wouldn't say negligible, but acceptable, as long as he doesn't lose everything. So holding with these Spine Crawlers is going to be critical. Beetle's Dancer in the back of this looking to get involved with the Templar. There's actually not a lot of Storms left, though, so not as high priority of a target.
Yeah,
actually,
he is trying to snipe him off. Very, very nice control for the Mutas.
Red Bandit looks like he should be able to push this back, actually, with more Hydralisks coming out. I don't want him to overextend, though. It looks like he's doing just that. Nice little recall saves a couple of the Dragoons, actually, and looks like Franscar's given up, but he found the base while this was going on.
And so he's taking his own little cheeky base. Wow. Yeah.
I think if Red Bandit held that lower right base, we wouldn't have seen the tap out right there.